Welcome to Bucks New University to Animation Apprentice. My name is Alex Williams. I supply the practical content for the online MA in animation at BNU. And this is a short video for our MA students, and in fact for all of our animation students, on whether you should consider being a sole trader or a limited company. Which one is best? This is we're going to start with a blog post that I did at the Animation Apprentice blog back in 2015. It's kind of old blog post because it's 2025 today, but the facts behind it haven't changed, so it doesn't matter that it's a bit out of date. And what I want to do is just talk about the basic practicalities of operating either as a sole trader or as a limited company. Which one is best? Because there's a lot of misunderstanding about this. The first thing I should say, of course, is that I'm not a formal financial advisor. If you need formal financial advice, you should go to a trained professional such as an accountant. But what I can do is give you the basics of the difference between being a sole trader and a limited company in the UK. Sole trading is incredibly simple to operate, and most of the benefits of being a small business will accrue to you whether or not you are a sole trader or a limited company. There's one big advantage with being a limited company, which we'll come to in a minute, but basically you can operate in business by yourself as a sole trader. And lots of animators just start out essentially freelancing, sole trading, and it just means that you are essentially the simplest business unit that there is. You're just going to invoice your clients as an individual. You're going to calculate your own profit and loss. You will deduct your expenses from your income, and then you're going to submit a tax return to HMRC at the end of the year. The system is very similar in America. Both countries are quite business friendly, and you can operate absolutely fine as a sole trader in the UK without any problems. And if there are actually many surprisingly sophisticated industries where this is the case. And in fact, I used to be, many years ago, I was a barrister, a kind of lawyer, and barristers are themselves sole traders. So they, even though many of them earn millions of pounds a year, the top ones, they're still sole traders because that is still a business model that works for them. So there's nothing wrong with being a sole trader. Now, are there risks involved in being a sole trader? Yes, there are risks because you are personally responsible for the debts of the business, and you're also personally involved for any litigation against the business. And that's usually the main reason why people want to become a limited company, because it protects you in the case of some kind of catastrophic litigation. Let's say somebody is injured at work, or something really bad happens. In that case, it's the company that's liable and not you. Now, usually when you're just doing animation jobs, these sorts of problems don't occur. We're not building buildings. There's no danger of anybody getting injured on a building site. Animation isn't a particularly risky business. So, and also when you're starting out with freelance work, you tend to not to be talking about very large sums of money. So for most of us, sole trader is fine. And in fact, that's my own personal tax position. I do a fair amount of freelance work, and I have been a sole trader for the last 30 years, and it's worked fine. And I just submit my tax return at the end of the year. I have an accountant who does it, although I supply them with all the numbers, and they submit my tax return to HMRC. That is the main advantage of being a limited company over a sole trader, is that you are protected from liability in case of disaster. Now, should you wish to incorporate to become a limited company, it's actually very easy to do. Just costs you a couple of £100 to set up your company. You're going to have to file accounts with Companies House. So it's a little bit of extra hassle. You're going to have two sets of accounts to do: your own personal accounts as an individual, and now the accounts of the company. So this is going to add extra expense, although not necessarily enormous expense, but it is an extra set of accounts to do every year. However, on the positive side, as we've said, there's very little personal risk. If your company goes bust for some reason, creditors can't come after you personally unless you've committed fraud, in which case they could, but that's pretty unusual. We assume you're not fraudulently dealing. As far as the tax deductions, that's pretty much the same. You can deduct your business expenses as a sole trader. You can deduct your business expenses as a business. The rules are pretty similar, not really dramatically different. And As you get into the tax is a little bit different. There are some advantages in being taxed as a limited company. They're not enormous, but there are some benefits there. To find out more about that, you'd really need to talk to an accountant, because that starts to go beyond my pay grade. But I think the message, if you take home just one message from this video, it's really that if you're starting out as a freelance animator doing small freelance jobs, then at least in the beginning, the sole trader structure is absolutely fine and should work for you.